Orange juice is basically synonymous with Florida.
Canned Florida orange juice.
Oranges are on the license plate, they're on tourism websites, they're held up at football games in Florida. But what if I told you that this orange juice isn't all from Florida? We're led to believe by most advertising that orange juice comes from Florida.
100% pure Florida orange juice.
100% pure Florida quality orange juice.
100% pure orange juice from Florida.
And this used to be true. Prior to 1993, if you bought refrigerated orange juice off the shelf anywhere in the country, it came from the US, and almost all of the US's production of OJ came from Florida. But now, the OJ supply chain looks dramatically different. As of 2017, over half of all orange juice consumed in the US is imported, and the majority of worldwide production comes from Brazil. For most brands, the juice in your bottles is a blend of OJ from the US and Brazil. However, there are some exceptions, like Florida's Natural, which only uses oranges from Florida. If each of these cups represent roughly 10% of worldwide OJ production, this one is US orange juice, this one is Mexican, this is all other countries, and all 7 of these ones are Brazil. So how did Brazil beat Florida at its signature crop? It all goes back to 1962. Back then, Florida was the clear leader in the orange market. It accounted for 23% of the world's supply. But then, frost started sweeping the state, destroying tens of thousands of acres of Florida's trees and decimating the world's supply of oranges. Brazil, which up until the 60s didn't make orange juice at wholesale quantities, saw a big opportunity and started making juice and planting more groves. By 1985, Brazil surpassed Florida's production of oranges.
There's a huge land mass in Brazil, much more territory than there is in the state of Florida on which to grow anything, including citrus.
Brazil's bet paid off. Hurricanes, like frosts, make Florida's orange crop unstable. Florida's bad weather brought massive profits to Brazil's largest juice companies, Cutrale, Citrosuco, and Louis Dreyfus. These companies have even taken over the American orange juice industry. They've bought out both plantations and orange juice factories, making Brazil the financial backer of much of America's orange juice production. As of 2015, these 3 companies controlled over half of the OJ that is bottled by a major company. These bottlers include Pepsi-owned Tropicana or Coca-Cola-owned Simply Orange and Minute Maid. It's unlikely that Florida will ever regain its spot as king of orange juice. Americans aren't drinking as much OJ anymore, land in Florida is more valuable for condos than orange fields, and orange fields worldwide have been decimated by a bacterial disease. In the last decade, the size of Florida's orange groves decreased by 40%. Cheaper Brazilian orange juice has some serious costs. For one, Brazil's labor rights are much weaker than the US's. One report called the system that orange pickers operate under in Brazil a, quote, modern system of slavery. Workers are sometimes unpaid for weeks and trapped in employment contracts that keep them in debt and stuck on the plantation. Pesticide use in Brazil was so high that in 2013, 206 deaths were attributed to the chemicals. Then, there's the trade war. President Trump's tariffs have provoked retaliatory tariffs by the EU, China, and Canada, 3 of our largest trading partners. And what's on their list? Orange juice from America. Lovers of OJ across the world could end up with even more expensive juice as demand for Brazilian OJ increases. But Florida's OJ farmers, already beat down by high prices, falling demand, and diseased crops, could also be hurt. And as members of one of America's most important swing states, could respond at the polls in 2020.